one of my main concerns about supplemental calcium is the fact that a lot of it ends up in the kidneys, and the risk for kidney stones do go up. And we see calcium deposited in the soft tissue, we see it deposited in the breast, we see it deposited in the kidney, and we do not need calcium in these tissues. It's actually detrimental. So I'm very cautious about over supplementing calcium supplementation because of that, and particularly with your fractionated or your poor grades of minerals.
There is a growing belief in the scientific community that a poor state of bones has a lot more to do with a shortage of vitamin D, more so than calcium. The body gets vitamin D from sunlight, but as people cover their bodies up to avoid the cancer-causing sun rays, they also send vitamin D levels plummeting.
I think vitamin D supplementation for osteoporosis and osteopenia is extremely important, and for years I think we overlooked it because we thought that vitamin D was a toxic fat-soluble vitamin and that it would cause us problems to have large amounts of it. And what I think we're recognizing now as a community is that we have a lot of D deficiency out there, and because of that we have a lot of diseases. So we can correlate vitamin D in osteoporosis in the sense that you can take all the calcium you want, but if the D isn't there again, we're not going to utilize that calcium. So it's so very important. And in some ways, I think that's the main vitamin to be pushing for osteoporosis, not necessarily calcium to the degree that we're pushing it, but the vitamin D. And that vitamin D facilitates the uptake of calcium at the bone site, as well as helping to maintain a healthy immune system and healthy cardiovascular system, as well as supporting normal tissue growth, and that includes bone as well as lung tissue, skin, and vascular tissue.
Though disagreements exist on things like the value of dairy-based calcium in treating osteoporosis, there's one thing that all parties agree on, and that is that a healthy lifestyle with plenty of exercise helps to build bones and maintain bone density. Dr. Mary Bove has some wonderful ideas to incorporate into our lifestyle to support our bone health, which she's willing to share with us. Here they are.
I think there's numerous lifestyle things that we can do to maintain our healthy bones, and certainly activity is one of them. And we tend to have a more, a less active lifestyle in the United States as it is, and just making that effort to get up and use your muscles and your bones and your body that way can make a difference. There were some studies that showed that people who jump rope 10 minutes a day improve their bone density, or to get on the little trampolines, the bouncelines, 10 to 15 minutes a day, again, improve bone density. And that's really not that much time. Jump roping, they also showed that 15-minute walk would help to slow down loss of bone. So those are things that we can do at lunchtime. We can park our car away from our office building and walk a few blocks to the office building, using a small trampoline or a bounceline in the morning, or even at your lunch break. So activity is huge, I think, for me, and it's easy to get weight bearing to our legs and our lower spine. It's not so easy to get it to our upper spine, and because that means that we have to use our arms, and we're not carrying things the way we used to when we were outdoors laboring. So it's important that we do make an effort. One of the things that I tell my moms is, if you're stuck in your kitchen because you got a bunch of kids and you're cooking all the time and you're taking care of your house, make your house into your activity exercise. If you're walking across the kitchen with a 5-pound bag of flour, well, why not raise that over your head 2 or 3 times? You've just given yourself a little bit of strain to your arms that's going to help your bones. Or take those cans of soup and do a few little bicep movements with it, and it can be very, very helpful. So everything that you do, you're looking to try to use your body and be active. Do swimming. If you're not a person who is able to get out and walk, then find a partner to walk with. Make it a social thing. If it doesn't have to be a sentence of, oh, I've got to go do this dreaded thing. It can actually be a fun thing. And there are so many things that we do in our life that impact our bones. So it's not about just what we eat. We were talking about foods that were very good for it. But it's also about foods that we eat that deteriorate our bones. So things like soda will leach out calcium and magnesium, and will just get it out of the body. It passes out through the urine and it's no longer being used. So soda's not a good food, sugar's not a good food, or processed foods, because again, they're going to leach out the bones. Anything that disturbs our mineral balances. And there are certain types of medications that we have to look for that. And there are foods, again, that do that, like hydrogenated fats will disturb your minerals. So I look to try to take out bad fats or hydrogenated fats. I look to try to take out processed food, sugar, definitely sodas. And then I look to try to not only give high calcium foods, but there are other foods that have been shown to be helpful to calcium, such as high phenolic foods. And our phenolic foods are our vegetables and fruits with color, purple and orange and red and blue. And these foods, being high phenolic, seem to have an effect in helping the calcium to find its way to the bone better. There was a study done on dried plums, which we know in this country as prunes, and they showed that women who ate 8 prunes a day or 8 dried plums a day had a diminished risk of osteoporosis, and so they found that bone density increased with that. They did a nice little study with women drinking sage tea, and sage tea has substances in it that act to mimic some of the effects of estrogen. So they found that the sage tea actually helped to direct the calcium again into the bones. So they directed the bones to try to build itself rather than break down. It's very easy to take a teaspoon of dried sage and to pour 8 ounces or 10 ounces of water over it, steep it for a minute or 2, and drink that as your routine each day for your bones. Finding those kinds of things in foods, I think, are very important. So I stress for my women who have osteoporosis, please get at least 4 or 5 colors of fruit and vegetable into your meals every single day, because those foods are going to have a lot to do with how well your calcium and your magnesium and your vitamin D get to play a part in that. In looking at ways in which a person can choose to support their bone through healthy lifestyle and diet, or if a person who has a diagnosis of osteopenia or osteoporosis, they want to actually change their lifestyle to support that of bone health. And in doing that, we're looking at diet, we're looking at exercise, we're looking at the things that we don't want to eat, the things we do want to eat, and then we want to look again at causes. And if you're a person who deals with stress on a regular basis or knows that stress affects your health in the sense that gives you a symptom or makes you feel fatigued or makes you have to look for something to modulate stress, then stress is probably affecting your bones. And so it might be a good idea to look at and listen to or read the information that we've put down on how to manage stress. Because if you can find some ways to lighten up the load of stress, you'll actually do your bones a big favor.
We hope this program has been inspiring to you, and we hope you can take something away from this that will better serve you in your quest for perfect health, true happiness, and a nourishing life. Thank you. Please join us on Facebook for some lively, humorous, and informative discussions.